Yo, what's going on guys? It's Rest. In this video, I'm going to be going over my brand new Phase Grasp Amara build. Now, I know as soon as you hear that, you're probably thinking, come on Rest, a Taz the Bind build. Yes, this is another one of those, but trust me, you are playing this completely different than normal. Obviously, most of the time, you're going to go down red and blue tree, a little bit of green, maybe in purple. But what if I told you in this build, we're going to be going all purple, all blue, little red, and no green at all? Sounds pretty interesting, huh? Well, at least I hope you think it is. This build is honestly really good. It is arguably stronger than some other Taz Divine builds, but that is up for debate, and that's just going to depend on how you like to play. This build does go heavy into cryo damage, but you can use this with almost anything. I will go over that when we get into the build. So if that interests you, as always, these builds are in my Discord channel. If you'd like to download them, the link to the Discord will be in the description. If you download the build and enjoy the video or find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps me out and our community grow by getting these videos out there for everyone to see. I truly appreciate it. But with all that, let's just jump right into this build. All right, so I promise you guys, this is going to be a little different than a normal Taz Divine build. Yes, you are going to be using it because it's arguably just the best, phase grasp active skill, but you can use any other one if you want to because of the shield we're going to be running, which is the Frozen Heart. So on active skill start, activate any effects that trigger on shield, break, or field. This is going to be really good. If you don't know, if you activate your active skill, this is going to freeze everyone around you, which works really well with the weapon we're going to be using, which is the Face Puncher. The Face Puncher is a shotgun that does melee damage. This is going to be based all on your melee buffs, alongside some weapon damage buffs as well. And on the anoint we have on active skill and melee damage, it's increased by 100% for a short time. If you don't know the way this game works, when you freeze an enemy, melees do 300% more damage to a frozen target. So you're going to freeze everybody with the Frozen Heart and then shoot them with the Face Puncher and insta-kill them. And since they're going to be locked with Taz Divine, they're all going to die. And everything's going to be frozen as well. And just to go over these two guns real quick, EMP5, again, I say this in almost every build video, this is just for movement speed. I'm not using this at all for damage. You could just move faster with it. And then the Execute is also just to apply a debuff. If you shoot the whole magazine and reload the gun, throw it at an enemy, it's actually going to apply a 50% debuff so you can do more damage to them. That's the only reason I'm using these two guns right here. But for bossing, the Face Puncher can do it if you have procced a kill before. But if you haven't, I'm going to have something like a Guardian Angel right here with a 150% over 90 anoint paired with a Fish Slap. If you don't know, the Fish Slap is insane. It works well in almost any build, and I have 3 of each element right here, or the main elements at least, so you can just take down whatever boss you need to. So again, just swap to the Guardian Angel and throw Fish Slap grenades. They're gonna die, no matter if it's the raid boss, literally anything, they're gonna instant die. But like I said, if you do have a kill, which I'll go over the kill base thing when we get into the skill tree, the Face Puncher can absolutely destroy even after the nerf. Now, class mod Phase Zerker, pretty much always just the go-to for Amara. It's one of her best class mods. This is going to give you more cooldown rate, weapon damage, and you're going to get max rush stacks whenever you use your axe skill. This is also giving you melee damage, axe skill cooldown rate, and magazine size on the stats itself. This is just insanely good for getting your axe skill back, doing a ton of damage, and it's really fun. Now for artifact, if you actually take a look in the red tree, if you saw earlier, I'm actually not running sustainment, but I'm going to be running a knife drain static charge. So when you melee enemy, you get 75% life steal. And then also when you slide, you're going to do 50% bonus shock damage that chains to nearby enemies. This is going to be really good for act clear. You're going to be freezing everything and then chaining lightning everywhere to kill everything as well. This is also giving you area effect damage, magazine size, and melee damage. All of these work really well with the Face Puncher, especially for a times 14 version, and you can just obliterate everything with this thing. Now for additional gear, I do have a Revolter. For bossing, you can swap this if you want to. It makes the Fish Slap do more damage, and as if it already needs to do more damage, but you have it. Plus, if you don't want to run cryo, you can put the Revolter on as well. And as you already seen the gameplay, with the Frozen Heart and without the Revolter, it already destroys everything. So you can imagine if you put the Revolter on, how much more absurd it's going to be. Then I have a Cutburst launch pad right here just to get ammo back. It doesn't need to be a launch pad since you are using the Face Puncher, since you can just shoot an enemy with the Face Puncher since it's melee to refill your ammo. But this is going to be good since your main weapon is a shotgun that shoots out 14 pellets at a time. But now, getting into the skill tree, I'm going to start in Light and Force because this is where a lot of our damage is coming from. Instead of typically going all the way down to Fist of Elements, we're going to be focusing on Light and Force to get melee damage bonuses, again, to buff our Face Puncher. Now, starting off, no mistakes in nature. Whenever we apply a status effect, we get 65% more melee damage, you're going to pretty much always be applying status effects at all times on Amara. So this is just a flat 65% damage increase, which is really, really nice, especially for the face puncher. But since you're freezing enemies, 65% for this, and then melee and a frozen enemy, 300% more from that. Now heavy range, 70% more projectile speed, 35% more splash damage. The splash damage is going to be very nice. Projectile speed's kind of whatever, but splash damage is going to be good because of body and mind right here. Whenever you kill an enemy, Amara's melee attacks gain bonus splash damage. This is going to be insanely good with a times 14 face puncher. All 14 of those pellets are doing splash damage, and you're going to obliterate everything. It is crazy. I honestly think it might crash your game if you're going a little too hard on it, but just be aware of that. And obviously splash damage bonus increase is going to be really good with that. And then since I'm already down here, I will go over clear the mod. So whenever you kill an enemy, you're going to be able to ignore any damage resistance that an enemy has unless they are completely immune to it. So your cryo is going to be doing max damage no matter what health target that you're fighting. If it's armor, flesh, or shields, you're going to be doing max damage, which is good. And that's what I was talking about. If you get a kill before a boss fight, you can make the face punch do literally max damage plus splash damage, and you could just obliterate any boss in the game with it. It's ridiculous. But since we're playing into cryo, I have 3 points on with rainbow. So now if we freeze the enemy, we get 33% bonus melee and splash damage to whatever that frozen target is. So we freeze everybody with the frozen heart. Now we have all this other stuff active to just insta kill this target as well. Now go with the flow. Whenever you freeze the enemy, you're going to get more gun damage and movement speed. This is a nice little movement speed buff. It's mainly just to get down to the bottom, but it is pretty cool to have. Now 1 point combo breaker, so we have 20% chance to just reset our axe skill on top of all the cooldown rate we already have. You will now have a 20% chance to just immediately reset your axe skill whenever you get a melee kill. Since we're always going to be using the face puncher, you could kind of always have a chance to proc this, so you can't just get instant cooldowns back, which is nice. Now 5 points of Jolt Freedom, so whenever we use our axe skill, we get 70% more melee damage. This is going to be good as well because we're going to be spamming axe skills with combo breaker and the phase archer like I was just talking about, so you're going to be getting more damage over and over again. And if you don't know, this actually does stack. Like if you fake grasp the ground, it will stack up at the bottom. As you see, we're getting stacks and then we're at ×2, then we'll be at ×3 right here. So you can start stacking do harm stacks up and this to do an insane amount of damage. And it's really, really cool. Now I have 2 points of burn with this because I had some points left over. This is a nice skill to have. You're going to get a damage bonus when you take damage, and it stacks up to 15 times. It's 2% per stack. So it is a nice little damage bump that you're going to get. But we've already went over these two. Going into Mystical Assault, we have 1 point do harm, which is going to give you a little bit more axe skill damage when you phase grasp an enemy. So when you lock an enemy with toss up on, the chain enemies do more damage. You don't really need this, to be honest, due to the amount of damage you're already going to do. That's why I have 1 point in it. But this will also help you keep rush stacks up. But now I have 5 points of Violent Tapestry, so we get 3.9% bonus elemental effect chance based on the rush stacks we have. Again, the phase archer always have max rush stacks. You're gonna literally always be freezing enemies since you have 5 points of this. It is ridiculous. Like literally 1-2 shots from the face puncher will freeze an enemy based on some other skills that we're taking, and obviously all the time with the frozen heart, you're always gonna be freezing enemies. Now 3 points of fast hands, gonna be reload speed, weapon slot speed, motion speed, pretty good. It's a nice little buff to have. 5 points of alacrity, so we get bonus reload speed based on the rush stacks we have, plus you get more after you use your axe skill. Really, really good for the face punch. You're gonna have a huge magazine with our gear, and then when you run out, you can just instantly reload the thing and keep your DPS up. Now 1 point in Ascendant, so we can buff whatever augment we're using. Your augment doesn't matter too much with this build. I like running Stillness of Mind. Since you're freezing enemies, you're also gonna be locking them in the air. They are going to be 100% immobile. You can run things like Soul Sap survivability, but you don't really need it for Knife Drain. And anything else, again, you can run just whatever you want to. Now 3 points delay bear, so whenever axe skill hits an enemy, we're going to do 25% more damage to the enemy. This does also work with Taz the Bond. The locked enemies will take 25% more damage. Plus, if you're bossing, you can swap to something like Phase Cast, Revolter, Guardian Angel, Fish Slap, and you could just tear enemies up. Now 3 points of Raz get 20% more gun damage and 20% more after we pop our action skill. This does work with face puncher for some reason. This will give you a little damage bonus, which is nice. 3 points in awakening to get 30% bonus rush act effectiveness. This will buff our axial damage a little bit on top of Violent Tapestry, letting us have an even higher elemental effect chance. Now 1 point remnant, we all know remnant is insane. You're gonna be doing a lot of damage with this remnant orb. Insta killing enemies. It's pretty much just whenever you kill an enemy, this orb will also just kill another enemy. So you get 2 kills for 1 kill. Then 1 point avatar, so we can pop our axe skill twice before cooldown, and we get 10 more rush stacks, which is really, really good. Obviously, more rush stacks means more damage, more elemental effect chance, yada yada yada. A lot of buffs. Phase Archer is crazy good. Now, Fist of Elements, 3 points of steady hands to get more handling and accuracy. pretty good for a shotgun. 5 points in infusion right here, so we get 40% of our damage converted to cryo. This is actually going to make our face puncher start to do cryo damage. And as I've seen through this whole video, I've had incendiary equipped, but again, you can run whatever you want to if you play around the revolter, but cryo is going to be the main element we run. Now this, like I was saying, will buff the face puncher to do cryo damage, which is cool. And on top of that, we're going to have illuminated fist, so whenever we do our melee damage, we're going to convert it to our axe skill element. And on top of that, we also get plus 75% more melee damage, so these two combined just make the face puncher insane. 5 points Tempest, so we can buff our elemental damage. Again, really good. Then 1 point in Dread, so if we kill a phase grass enemy, we're going to be able to instantly reload our gun, which does work with the face puncher, and you get a little gun damage bonus. Then 1 point Catharsis, so whenever we kill an enemy that has elemental effect on them, they're going to explode. We're always going to have cryo on enemies. Since your melee is already doing splash damage, since you're getting kills, when they die, they're also going to explode in cryo nova as well, and it's going to be a ton of cryo explosions going off everywhere. That is it for the skill tree. I will scroll through really quick if you guys just want to see everything that I have, if you want to copy it down. But trust me, this build is insane. It does rival other phase grass builds, like I was saying, and I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. So that's it for the build. I know not a lot of people like the face puncher, especially after they went out and nerfed it, but I hope this video shows that even the nerf didn't do too much to it. You can still make this thing just absolutely destroy if you build around it correctly, like in this build. And again, other phase grass builds to focus a lot more on a diversity of weapons can be a lot more fun, don't get me wrong. But if you do enjoy that a little bit more, don't be obligated to think you have to run this, because those builds are pretty much on the same level as this one. This one, it's just really relying you to focus on one gun, but you can make that one gun very good, and it's very versatile, which is why I like the face puncher a lot. If you don't want something like the knife drain for survivability, you can actually replace that with a melee damage artifact or just anything to do even more damage, which is kind of cool. And that's what I was saying, it's pretty versatile, and I just like that with the face puncher. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this build and if you try it out, be sure to let me know what you think in the comments if you want to change the thing around. Also, be sure to let me know. I would love to read what you have in mind. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.